Faces of Abortion is the only television program of its kind that shows the powerful, real-life stories of women, men, and families who have suffered the devastation of abortion. Faces of Abortion touches hearts and changes lives in over 125 nations. Faces of Abortion is a program that will help you with healing from the heart and hope for the future. You will be given practical steps for healing in your life and help to end the suffering of abortion.
So it just overwhelmed me. And I thought the only way to escape the pain was to take my life.
I had a fear that I wouldn't be able to have my own children.
It brings heartache. It brings hurt.
And I knew they were tearing my baby apart.
I remember the cold feeling of the room.
I remember laying there and I just said to myself that I will never forgive myself for what I'm doing.
I believe that my life was spared that night just so that I could be here right now and say abortion hurts women.
Welcome to Faces of Abortion. I'm your host, Cindy Collins, and today I'm with Alan Parker, who is president of the Justice Foundation, and again, Clayton Trotter, who is general counsel of the Justice Foundation. And I know that we have a great show today with both Denise and Deborah that are going to be sharing somewhat of our helpline and also of Deborah's testimony, which is very powerful.
Well, we're very privileged that these ladies would share from the secret places of their heart what abortion did to them and how it's affected their lives. And there is hope and healing on the helpline and other places, so it's great to have them with us.
And we're going to see that power of hope and healing in Deborah's life right now. So we invite you to watch with us as Deborah tells her story in her own words.
My name is Deborah, and this is my story of how abortion hurt me. 9 years ago, I was married with 2 children, and my husband started working away and abandoned us. He never came home. I was very vulnerable, very hurt, lots of pain. My marriage had fallen apart. My husband was never home. And the vulnerability led me to have an affair. I had an affair with this man, and I later became pregnant. Now, my husband had just been home a week before I had an affair, I slept with this other man. So when I became pregnant, I really wasn't sure who the father of the baby was. The man I had the affair with had said to me, you know, if you have this abortion, if you have an abortion, you will never be the same again. And I was studying at the time the Lord's Word, and the Lord was speaking to me through Scripture, through His Word, and telling me that everything that comes from above is a blessing. Well, I didn't listen, and I found myself at the abortion facility because I thought that if I had this baby, and the baby came out looking like the man I had the affair with, that how can I explain myself? And it would be a lie. I could not tell everybody that this baby was my husband's. So at the abortion clinic, it was a 2-part abortion. They had to weaken my uterus wall. So it was a 24-hour procedure. So when I got there, they quoted me a price, which was $287. And they went ahead and did the procedure and sent me home. Before they sent me home, they had said to me Now, if you change your mind in the next 24 hours, chances are you will not carry this baby full term anyway because the uterine wall is weakened. You'll miscarry. I went home. 24 hours later, I went back. I was still confused and still thinking that I should not go through with this, but wait a minute, now it's too late, because if I don't go through with this, I'll miscarry the baby. When I went back the next day to the abortion facility, they quoted me. I was already on the table and the procedure was starting. And they quoted me a higher price of $387. And I said, now wait a minute, why is it higher than what you quoted me yesterday? And they said, it's because you were further along than what we thought. At that moment, I knew that it was my husband's child and what I was doing. I could never take it back. I wasn't strong enough to get up off the table, so I just let the abortion happen and I murdered my child. Later, my husband found out that I had an abortion and I had an affair. He took my other 2 children and divorced me. After that, I spiraled into hell, total darkness. Drugs and alcohol and running with men and always trying to get everybody's approval. And the same story as every other woman that I hear give their testimony about abortion. It wasn't until 8 years later that the Lord convicted me of what I had done. I was in my apartment and I was watching TV before I went to work. And there was a commercial on, and it was about abortion. And there was 3 women who were giving their testimony. The first 2 women didn't affect me at all. Just nothing. The last woman was sitting there. They had her sitting in a room on a rocking chair. And the room was dark, the shades were drawn, and there was a little bit of light coming through the window. And her voice was beautiful, and she was full of the Lord, and she was speaking so wonderful. When that was over, the Lord convicted my heart so much with this woman. I got up from my couch, I went to my bedroom, and I hit my knees. And I said, Lord, this is terrible. You see, I never thought about the baby that I aborted, because for 8 years, I had been grieving over the other children. I went to church a week later, and there was that woman. She was introduced to me from a friend of a friend, and I started doing abortion recovery in prisons with her.
Deborah's story was a story of great sorrow and great loss. As you heard, that she lost her children, not only her 2 children that she had prior to her abortion, but she lost her child due to abortion, and the grief and sorrow that occurred. Her life was never the same. The ending of her marriage, the deception that was there, and also the deception that we heard at the abortion facility. She went in, they gave her one price, and then the laminary that was inserted into her cervix, she goes back the following day and they upped the price on her.